Somebody at the Miami Heat just pressed the wrong button. Or maybe the right one. The official Miami Heat YouTube channel quietly scheduled a live stream this week. The title did not say Summer League Recap. The title did not say season ticket announcement. The title said LeBron James Introductory Press Conference, July 27, 2026. Scheduled. Public. Sitting there in broad daylight for the whole world to screenshot. And then, minutes later, the stream disappeared. Deleted so fast you could almost hear the alarm bells ringing through Biscayne Boulevard. The Miami Heat explanation arrived almost as quickly. The organization claimed the social media team prepared the stream purely as a contingency, just in case LeBron James chose Miami, and one unlucky employee accidentally flipped the toggle from private to public. An innocent mistake. Nothing more. Everyone can relax. Move along. Here is the problem with that story. Nobody builds a contingency plan for a fantasy. And before anyone reaches for the troll theory, remember who runs that building. Pat Riley has spent 3 decades treating information like a weapon. Nothing escapes that organization by accident, and everything that does escape gets measured for impact. A franchise that once cleared cap space 2 full summers in advance to chase the biggest free agent on the planet does not fumble a live stream about that exact same player without the whole league wondering whether the fumble was choreographed. Think about how organizations actually function behind closed doors. Front offices do not construct press conference infrastructure for players the front office privately considers a pipe dream. Nobody at the Heat built a secret live stream for Kevin Durant. Nobody built one for Donovan Mitchell. Nobody schedules a fake announcement for a name pulled out of a hat. Somebody inside that building believed, strongly enough to assign a date and a time, that LeBron James walking into a Miami press room was a genuine possibility worth preparing for. The accident was the stream going public. The preparation was the confession. And notice the detail everyone glossed over. The stream had a date. July 27. Contingencies in the real world are vague. Contingencies live in drawers and group chats. Dated contingencies mean calendars were discussed. Calendars mean logistics. Logistics means somebody in that building thinks the LeBron James sweepstakes is far enough along to plan around. That is the part Miami is not saying out loud, and honestly, the official denial almost does not matter anymore, because the conversation the deleted stream unlocked is the conversation worth having in the open. The screenshots are permanent. The speculation is permanent. And every superstar watching the circus just learned that one of the most respected franchises in sports considers LeBron James a live possibility worth building infrastructure around. But hold on, because the case gets much stronger the deeper the tape goes. Forget whether the leak was real, fake, or a troll job from a board intern. The better question is the basketball question. If LeBron James wants championship number 5, is Miami actually the answer? Full disclosure before the film rolls. Weeks before the deleted stream, Miami already sat near the top of my personal landing spot rankings. Philadelphia held the number 1 slot. Miami held number 2. And Philadelphia looked absurd on paper. LeBron James sliding into a starting 5 next to Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, and Joel Embiid reads like a roster assembled in a video game with the salary cap switched off. But the more the Philadelphia idea marinates, the more one single question dissolves the whole fantasy. Can Joel Embiid stay healthy? The entire Philadelphia pitch rests on a foundation that has crumbled every single spring. Year after year, the same cycle repeats. Dominant regular season. Ominous limp. Playoff exit. Summer of questions. Betting the final chapter of the LeBron James legacy on the left knee of Joel Embiid is not a strategy. Betting on that knee is a prayer. There is a second Philadelphia problem nobody mentions. That roster would need LeBron James to organize everything, create everything, and rescue every broken possession, because the system around the stars has never once produced a deep playoff run. Miami never asks for hero ball. Miami asks for a conductor. Those are 2 completely different jobs, and only one of them makes sense for a 41-year-old. Miami requires no prayer. Miami requires only a signature. And one more thing about the timing before the basketball argument even begins. Free agency decisions at this level are never made in July. Decisions at this level are made in March and April, whispered through agents, tested through back channels, and polished into inevitability long before the public hears a single rumor. The July 27th date on that stream fits the choreography of a negotiation already in motion, not the fantasy of a social media intern. Keep that framing in the back of the mind for everything that follows. Start with the obvious headline sitting in plain sight. The Miami Heat already have Giannis Antetokounmpo. When Miami first pulled the trigger on the Antetokounmpo trade, the reaction around the league was confusion mixed with fear, because Miami had acquired the most devastating physical force in basketball without a finished offensive system waiting to receive him. The defense profiled as championship caliber from day one. The offense had holes you could drive a team bus through. Now picture the same roster with LeBron James dropped into the middle of the chaos. Suddenly every hole has a plug. The spacing concern gets answered by a catch-and-shoot evolution, the creation concern gets answered by the greatest floor general of the generation, and the half-court stagnation gets answered by a mind that has solved every coverage basketball has ever invented. Deal with the injury elephant first, because the injury elephant is real. Last season was the lowest availability stretch of the entire Antetokounmpo career. 36 games played. Milwaukee missed the postseason completely. For a player whose entire game is built on launching a 7-foot frame through multiple defenders on every possession, missed time is never a small concern. Nobody should pretend otherwise. But context matters more than panic. Even in a broken season, Antetokounmpo still averaged 27.6 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 5.4 assists on 66% true shooting. The advanced metrics still placed Antetokounmpo in the 99th percentile of all offensive players and the 97th percentile in offensive creation. Read those numbers again. The diminished version of Giannis Antetokounmpo was still more productive than almost every healthy superstar in the league. That is not a decline. That is a warning label for the rest of the Eastern Conference. And the hidden blessing of the lost season is the rest. The final Antetokounmpo game came in the middle of March. By the time training camp opens, the Antetokounmpo body will have experienced the longest recovery window of a professional career spent absorbing car crash contact on a nightly basis. The game of Giannis Antetokounmpo runs on explosion, and explosion returns when the batteries finally get a full charge. I ranked Antetokounmpo third in my preseason player rankings, ahead of Nikola Jokic, because a rested Greek freak is the scariest version of the Greek freak. Everything about the trajectory points toward a monster response season. Here is where the fit stops being theoretical and starts being terrifying. From years of watching Antetokounmpo up close, two ingredients unlocked the absolute best version of the two-time MVP. Ingredient number 1, a genuine two-man game partner. Antetokounmpo feasts when a ball handler comes off the screen, reads the coverage, and chooses between personal offense, the lob over the top, or the kick to the corner when the help defense collapses. In Milwaukee, Chris Middleton filled that role for years, and the partnership worked because Middleton brought craft, patience, and pull-up gravity from the mid-range. Defenses could never fully commit to the role, and Antetokounmpo ate the space the hesitation created. LeBron James in year 24 is Chris Middleton after a laboratory upgrade. Bigger. Stronger. A superior passer by a mile. Still capable of turning the corner and getting downhill at will. There is no coverage for the LeBron James and Antetokounmpo pick-and-roll that does not end with somebody wide open. Switch a smaller defender onto Antetokounmpo and the possession ends at the rim. Go under the screen and LeBron James buries the three. Send a second defender at the action and the ball finds the open shooter before the defense finishes rotating. That single action might rank as the best set in basketball the moment training camp ends. Ingredient number 2, a legitimate defensive anchor behind Antetokounmpo. The Greek freak reaches maximum destruction when roaming free as a weak-side playmaker, covering ground, erasing shots, and turning stops into transition gasoline. Ask Antetokounmpo to wrestle opposing centers for 82 games and the wear shows up by April. Enter Bam Adebayo. Adebayo absorbs the bruising center matchup every single night. Adebayo switches onto guards, smothers pick-and-rolls, and defends at an all-defense level as a matter of routine. With Adebayo holding the middle, Antetokounmpo gets to float, hunt, and gamble. Remember, even last season, opponents shot 12.5% worse at the rim against Antetokounmpo, a 97th percentile rim protection mark. Unleash that version behind a real center and the Miami defense becomes a nightmare with no safe corner to hide in. Now flip the lens, because the fit works just as violently in the other direction. Miami would never ask LeBron James to carry a defensive load. The projected starting five is Davion Mitchell, Andrew Wiggins, LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Bam Adebayo. Read that group out loud. Mitchell harasses ball handlers at the point of attack. Wiggins switches across four positions. Adebayo owns the center assignment. Antetokounmpo plays free safety behind everyone. LeBron James, still a productive defender last season, would somehow be the weakest defender in the entire starting unit. That single fact says everything about the infrastructure waiting in South Beach. A 41-year-old superstar does not need a team. A 41-year-old superstar needs a shield. Miami is the shield. LeBron James gets to pick defensive spots, save the legs, and arrive in April with a full tank for the first time in half a decade. The regular season math matters here too. Over the last 5 years, the championship teams all shared one trait: the superstar arrived in May with fuel left in the tank. Denver managed the minutes of Jokic. Boston managed the workload of Tatum. Miami would offer LeBron James something no contender in the league can honestly promise: the freedom to treat October through March as a warm-up instead of a survival test. Load management sounds like a dirty phrase until the trophy gets lifted. The offensive fit is somehow even cleaner. Before the deleted stream, the Miami offense had three glaring problems: not enough shooting, not enough creation, and nobody to organize the half-court. Right now Antetokounmpo profiles as the best playmaker on the roster, and that is a problem disguised as a luxury. Asking Antetokounmpo to be the best scorer, best defender, transition engine, and offensive coordinator all at once is exactly how a superstar body breaks down by March. Milwaukee ran that experiment for years. The medical reports wrote the conclusion. LeBron James erases all four jobs at once. The second Miami forces a stop, LeBron James can rip the rebound and fire 160-foot strike to a sprinting Antetokounmpo before the defense crosses half-court. Or Antetokounmpo grabs the board and LeBron James leaks out for the return bomb, a 4-second blur from one rim to the other that ends with the arena shaking. Two of the greatest open-floor weapons in basketball history sharing the same fast break. Add Wiggins and Adebayo filling the lanes in Miami becomes a track meet wearing a defensive straitjacket. Top 5 defense. Live ball turnovers. A blur going the other way. That identity writes itself before opening night. But playoff basketball eventually slows to a crawl, and the crawl is exactly where LeBron James prints money. The half-court command. The matchup hunting. The ability to walk a team into the right set possession after possession while the opposing coach burns timeouts trying to solve the puzzle. LeBron James can run the pick and roll with Antetokounmpo or pivot to Adebayo, an underrated short-roll playmaker with real screening craft. Multiple levers. Multiple counters. Zero panic. The spacing question deserves honesty. LeBron James is not Stephen Curry flying off screens without the ball. But season after season, the LeBron James catch-and-shoot three has quietly evolved into a legitimate weapon, and a stationary LeBron James threat waiting in the corner while Antetokounmpo detonates a drive as a pick-your-poison menu with no correct answer on it. One more layer nobody is discussing, and this one might matter most. Eric Spoelstra has spent a career turning star talent into system basketball without bruising a single ego. Look at the history. Wade, Bosh, Butler, Adebayo. Every star who entered that building came out the other side more efficient, more disciplined, and more feared in May. LeBron James already knows the playbook, the terminology, the culture, the weight room, and the man at the podium. There would be no adjustment period. No learning curve. No wasted October. The integration that takes other super teams 2 seasons would take Miami about 2 weeks. Then comes the bench problem, the quiet roster flaw nobody puts on the poster. Right now the rotation without a marquee addition runs thin in a hurry. Bobby Portis. Nikola Jovic. Simone Fontecchio. Drew Smith. Useful players, absolutely. But 2 or 3 names on that list would be asked to do far more than a contender should ever ask. The minutes Antetokounmpo sits would bleed leads all season long. LeBron James is the tourniquet. Stagger the minutes so LeBron James or Antetokounmpo is on the floor for all 48. Think about what that actually means for an opponent. No breather. No soft stretch. No moment to regroup against a depleted lineup. Every single second of a 48-minute war features one of the 2 most physically overwhelming players of the century orchestrating the action. Coaches build entire game plans around surviving the minutes a superstar sits. Against this version of Miami, there are no minutes to survive. LeBron James pilots the second unit next to Adebayo, manufactures clean looks for the bench mob, and stops the bleeding before the wound even opens. Tim Hardaway Jr. and Portis shift back into the 6th-man roles both players were born to play. Jovic and Fontecchio slide down into reasonable workloads. One signature does not just fix the starting 5. One signature fixes every single role underneath the starting 5. Now zoom out and look at the conference Miami would be terrorizing. Boston is aging at the margins. New York just emptied the tank chasing a finals run. Cleveland still has not proven the moment will not swallow the roster whole. Orlando is ascending but young. The Eastern Conference crown is sitting on a table, unguarded, waiting for someone organized enough to pick it up. Miami with LeBron James and Antetokounmpo is not one of the teams grabbing for that crown. Miami with those 2 names becomes the team everyone else is grabbing at. And every general manager in the conference already knows it, which is why the phones across the East started ringing the second that stream went live. And there is a financial wrinkle worth naming, because Miami always has a financial wrinkle. The Heat built a reputation on finding the one contract structure, the one sign-and-trade path, the one exception nobody else bothered to read closely enough. Other franchises look at the salary cap and see a wall. Miami looks at the salary cap and sees a puzzle the front office has solved before. Anyone claiming the math cannot work has not been paying attention to the last 30 years of that franchise making impossible math work on command. And the cruelest part of the whole equation is the safety net. Miami without LeBron James is still good. The Antetokounmpo floor is enormous. Milwaukee played .500 basketball whenever Antetokounmpo suited up last season despite being a disaster whenever the superstar sat. Slot that floor raiser next to Adebayo, Wiggins, and Mitchell and Miami lands comfortably in the East's top 5. Scrappy. Nasty. A miserable first-round matchup nobody wants. With LeBron James, the conversation changes categories entirely. Not a tough out. Not a dark horse. The favorite. The best defense in the conference, the most violent transition attack in basketball, the most organized half-court operator of a generation, and the 2 most overwhelming physical forces of the era wearing the same jersey. Picture a random Tuesday in January. The opposing team walks into the arena already exhausted from scouting a defense with no weak link. Then the opening tip happens, and the first transition avalanche arrives before the visitors finish warming up. That is the season Miami would inflict on 14 other franchises, night after night, while the rest of the league watches the standings and does the same math everyone in this comment section is doing right now. Then there is the layer nobody at the league office wants printed. Ring number 5. The entire LeBron James legacy debate has been stuck on the same number for years, and one more parade changes the mathematics of every barbershop argument in America. A 5th title, won at 41, one in the building where the first 2 arrived, is not just a championship. That is the closing argument of the greatest career the sport has ever seen. 16 years after the decision, the return writes the ending nobody dared to script. Which brings everything back to that deleted live stream. Maybe the whole thing was an honest mistake. Maybe some social media manager is enduring the worst week of a professional life right now. Or maybe, just maybe, a building full of people raised on the Pat Riley gospel understood something the rest of the league has been too slow to admit. The fit is perfect. The need is mutual. The window is right now. And the preparation, accidental or not, is already underway. The legacy math seals everything.
A ring in Los Angeles added a chapter. A ring in Miami at 41 would add an entire final act, the kind of ending historians still argue about 50 years from now. No other destination offers that combination of narrative, fit, and probability.
Not one.
If LeBron James truly wants ring number 5, there is no debate left.
Philadelphia is a gamble on a fragile knee.
Every other option is a consolation prize dressed up as a fresh start. Miami is the answer, and deep down, somebody in that building already scheduled the party. The league has a way of laughing at smoke right up until the fire becomes visible. Everyone laughed in 2010 too, right up until the stage, the smoke machines, and the not one not two speech.
South Beach has seen this movie before, and the sequel always lands louder than the original. Was the deleted stream a blunder, a leak, or a quiet prophecy?
Drop the verdict in the comments, because this debate is just getting started. And for the full breakdown of where every single team ranks heading into the 2027 season, the next video is waiting on the screen right now.
July 27th cannot come soon enough for Miami Heat.